So how
Yeah.
long has Last Martyr been together?
Oh gosh, I
Oh
think around
man.
like 6 years almost. But it's just I feel like I don't count like COVID, so it feels like a lot less than what it is. But yeah, about 6 years or so.
Cool. So what's your Facebook password?
Not falling for that one.
Too soon? Too soon?
Nah, it's all good.
I did he manage to keep any of the followers or did everyone jump ship? Because I remember thinking to myself, like, what was the end game plan here? Like, we've
Who
grabbed the
knows?
page, we've got all the the captive audience. Now here's a shoe from 3,000 years ago.
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, we did consult one of our followers actually works in like cybersecurity and they do like cybersecurity for like the army and like KFC and like all the top corporations. And so it was really nice that they took the time to meet with us and they reckon that the purpose was to like scam our followers and like eventually like slide into the DMs and try and like scam them for money or whatever. But yeah, like so confusing. I have no idea, but I don't know. It's nice that it's over though. Like I'm so glad that we
Mm,
just like started from scratch and started a new page and everything. It was like such a saga.
yes, God bless. I love the reporting standards on that. Like I literally said to someone, on a Facebook post, "Oh, I hope I run into you at the gig, but not actually run into you or I'll knock you over." That got a strike for inciting violence. Meanwhile, I've literally reported like a thumbnail of, an open vagina, like actual porn, and they've gone, "Oh no, that doesn't go against our standards." What?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, like we had that page must have got thousands of reports, and it is just so obvious to like a human. But unfortunately, they're using AI for a lot of their customer service. And even when we spoke to a human, we got acknowledgement that something was wrong, and then they escalated it, but it's just like there's just so many users on Facebook. It's stuff like that is just going to fall through the cracks. Like we had like 4,000 followers or something like that at the time, and funnily enough, the page now has 60,000 followers from being a history page. So we're like, good luck to you.
all right. So
But
mate,
yeah.
Requiem was the soundtrack to my weightlifting this morning. What
Oh
was
hell yeah.
yeah? No better way to absorb it. How long have you been working on it?
We started writing this record a little over a year ago now. We actually had written Burn It Down a lot um, earlier in the year last year, but when we sat down and consciously went to like write this record, it was a little over a year ago. And we went away to a writing retreat where we hired an Airbnb for a week and we got to focus solely on music for the first time in our lives. Normally, we're trying to fit in like recording songs here and there around work. And, one of us is always rushing from work or, having to take the day off. And this was like a solid week where we didn't have to think about anything else other than creating music. So we got the bulk of the demos done that week, and then sort of earlier this year, January, February, is when we kind of like laid down the vocals, got the guest vocals done, and yeah, uh, I'd say about a year in the making.
So, what were some of the biggest challenges in the creation?
I think some of the biggest challenges were, I mean, definitely trying to write music where each song has its own like personality and identity. And one of the things that we did to overcome that is what that week allowed was to try things that maybe we hadn't tried before. Like most of our songs are written guitar first, but when we're trying to think outside the box, we wrote a lot of the songs electronics first and then layered the vocals over the electronics, which opened up my brain to write in a completely different way and not be confined with like the limitations of trying to write a heavy song. And then the guitars were almost like icing on the cake to like really emphasize certain points. So that was one of the challenges and sort of how we overcame it. And then another challenge is just being like, I guess being a working band who is like completely independent, we actually had a few like rejections or a few like morale kind of like destabilizers happen right before writing the EP. And so, coming into writing the EP, we felt really, really deflated as a band, and we're kind of questioning like, is it worth it? Is it, where do we stand in the Australian music scene and like worldwide music scene? But writing the EP, it helped us come together. And I think like the strength of the songs and writing stuff that we really like and we think reflects us is sort of how we overcame that as well.
Yeah. So on the flip side of that, what of the songs on Requiem, which one came easiest, do you think?
That's a good question.
That's why I asked it.
It's funny, like I'm just trying to reflect on the writing process now. And I remember one of the songs that quite easily came together was Antidote, which is it's the second track, but the first like full length track, we've got like an intro track to start.
Mhm.
And Antidote was just one of those songs that has a bit more of like a traditional song structure in terms of arrangement. And the chorus just came really, really quickly. And that line, like, you are the antidote, just came really quickly. So I think that's the standout song that comes to mind when I think about ease of writing.
Nice. Now you've collaborated with people before. If you could collaborate with anyone in the Australian scene who you haven't obviously already, who would it be and why?
Oh gosh, there's so many choices. One of the artists that we wanted to collaborate with, we never actually reached out to them, but it was like an idea to reach out to them that we kind of threw around. Was a electronic trap artist called Jani, and she writes like really dark gothic kind of
Is that
trap
with a Z?
medium.
Zhan?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
saw
it's like
her.
ZH. Yeah.
I saw her open for Limp Bizkit of all people. Um,
Yes.
yeah, wow. She would have been great.
Yeah, she's really cool. She would have fit our vibe. I mean, she's a lot bigger than us. But yeah, maybe in the future that'd be really cool to do something with her.
Yeah, do it. Um, so what inspired the video for Requiem?
So Requiem, the song, it's about the toxic relationship between humans and the earth. So one of the hardest parts was like we're a very like electronic band, and if you had to like put us in, make us choose between like a cityscape to do a photo shoot or like a majestic field, we would choose like the cityscape. We're very like I guess technology focused, but given that Requiem was like kind of about like mother nature and stuff, it was really hard to like fuse the two. So the inspiration behind it was like, okay, well, how can we create that fusion between the themes of like something natural and our normal kind of themes where we're talking about like technology and stuff. So we ended up it started off with, I had this idea of like swinging majestically on a swing, and then having like almost like a LED light board, like a giant LED light board behind me, like projecting certain images of like nature and stuff. And that's how we're going to fuse it. But I really wanted to be like harnessed up and like swinging majestically with like my hair flowing in the breeze. That didn't end up happening. If you watch the video, we ended up like having a child's swing set that I couldn't even sit on properly. Otherwise it was going to collapse. And I wasn't swinging majestically at all, but it doesn't matter because the video turned out cool. We built like a set in the middle of like this sound stage of like dirt and like plants, and like built it all ourselves and like designed it ourselves. So it was a little bit of an evolution, but that's kind of like how the ideas formed, is, the idea behind the song. And then I just wanted to swing majestically. And then somehow that turned into me sitting on a child's swing that we got off Gumtree.
I love it. Mate, what were, looking back over particularly your teenage years, what were the albums that kind of changed your life and why?
There's a
Most
lot of
embarrassing
albums.
answer wins.
I used to be embarrassed about some of my some of my choices. I mean, some of them might seem kind of random. Like when I was a teenager, I really liked like 80s heavy metal. And I was like this hybrid kid between like this glam rock kid, and then emo was obviously like the biggest, like 15 years ago, the biggest genre. For like alt kids. So I was like this weird, like glam emo hybrid. So I really liked, Guns N' Roses live era album was like fully on repeat. I loved just capturing the energy of bands live. Um, I would be remiss not to mention like Divinals. Chrissy Amphlett was like the first female in rock here in Australia. So she was a big influence on me, and I can't even choose an album, but probably like What a Life. But then in terms of like more modern stuff, City of Evil by Avenged Sevenfold, Deja and Tendu by Brand New. I know they're cancelled now, but that was one of the albums that I was listening to at the time, and a great album. Um, AFI, the list goes on.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I must admit, from your age and the hair, I was waiting for just the cavalcade of emo, of emo, like, oh yeah, my cam, all that kind of stuff. I was a child of new metal. I was 16 in 2001, so I remember
Mm-hmm.
when emo came out. I was 19. By the time I was 19 years old, I felt like there was a generation gap already, because I remember looking at the emo kids and being like, what are you doing? Why are you wearing your sister's jeans? It was very confusing time.
Yeah, it's really interesting watching, like, when you analyze it, like the counterculture flip between like certain subgenres. And it's like we're going back to like that new metal time now. Like, I just missed new metal. Like, I was just a little bit too young for new metal, but some of my bandmates were like, you know, it was big like in their time. And I'm later on in life just kind of rediscovering new metal, and like I know a lot of songs because obviously they were around, like kids a little bit older than me in high school um were into it. But it's funny, like I do feel like I'm actually discovering new metal again and getting this new appreciation for, I mean, I always liked Slipknot, I mean, who doesn't? But like even bands like, I don't know, Limp Bizkit, and like even like bands like Kitty, and yeah, like so many new metal bands that I'm Corn, like that I'm discovering now almost for the first time, but kind of rediscovering.
That blew me away when I was in the crowd for Limp Bizkit. I'm looking around and half the crowd is in their early 20s. And I'm looking at them thinking, like, I'm not trying to gatekeep, but I was like, were you even born when Chocolate Starfish came out? Like, wow, kids are all
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
it's
They're,
crazy, but it's good for them. Like, they can have these like long sustainable careers and be, have a fan base that's like renewing, not
mm,
kind of like dying out. Not dying out. That sounds
yeah,
like, you know what I mean. But
yeah,
like,
yeah.
as people get older, they have like more and more commitments and like probably less likely to come to shows and stuff. So it's like kind of nice that we have like this 20-year cycle where like new metal's become big again. There's a lot of like new artists that I'm into that are very like new metal influenced, and I think that that's like another fresh take on the genre, which is cool.
Ocean Grove is a huge example.
Yes.
Like, they are awesome. And it's funny you're mentioning that kind of 20-year cycle, and it goes for fashion as well. Like, I'm loving, girls going around with the midriff tops now and the big cargo pants and thinking that they invented it. And I'm like, woman, you are dressing exactly how they did when I was in high school. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so funny. Like, I even look back at, yeah, like at that fashion and like stuff that I would have hated. Like, as I said, like I just missed that new metal era. So I was very much an emo kid, and I would have hated like the baggy jeans looked. I remember dating this guy like in my early 20s, and he was like baggy jeans, like he couldn't move on from like that era. And now, like, and I kind of like influenced him like as his girlfriend. And I'm like, you really got to like, tighten those jeans, right? That's like really, you look really uncool right now. But like if he was to go back and dig up those old jeans, like he would be super cool looking.
Emma, who do you see as some of the coolest women in the Australian music scene right now, and why?
Oh gosh, I think now is the best time. for women in heavy music. Finally, we're starting to see, you know, more women on like bills, and it's funny because like they've always been around, but it's just like now they're getting like the respect and opportunities that they deserve. So, I mean, the first person that comes to mind, of course, is like Emmy Mac from Red Hook, another like new metal influenced
Mhm.
band. She has, you know, we kind of grew up in the scene together and have seen each other evolve, and there's been so many moments where yeah, like it's just cool to see that evolution in each chapter of her music career. um, Also, Alex Reid from Make Them Suffer,
Mhm.
absolutely amazing performer. What she did for heavy music, I think, is like pretty underrated. There wasn't a lot of women who screamed in like metalcore bands when her old band Drown This City was around. She was kind of like one of the first to do it, and now she's in Make Them Suffer and living her dream, like touring the world, which is rad. Um, I also want to give a shout out to my friend Lauren Coleman, who plays in a band called EORA.
Mhm.
And if anyone here likes The Last Martyr, then EORA would probably be your vibe as well. And she's like a crazy vocalist, crazy performer. And she's just a really cool person. We're playing with EORA at our upcoming shows next month. So I'm very, very
Uh,
excited about that.
Now, I am going to follow that with a stupid question that has become a bit of a signature for me over the last year or two. So have some fun with this. Who would win in a brawl between you guys and Red Hook?
Oh my God, I don't think you'd ever see us brawling.
I know. I'm just talking pure physicality and numbers. You've got four. You've
They've
got
got
four.
four as well.
Yeah.
I think Red Hook would for sure win. I mean, Emmy's like pretty scrappy, and I wouldn't want to go up against any of the other guys.
Your drummer's
I
pretty tanky though from memory, isn't he? Isn't he a solid lad?
think who?
Isn't your drummer a bit of a solid lad, or am I thinking of someone else?
Oh yeah, yeah. He's a hard hitting drummer, and so I can only imagine what he's like in a brawl.
Awesome.
But
Mate,
his heart's too pure for that.
oh, I know.
Yeah.
It started. I think it was last year for Spring Loaded, and I interviewed so everyone on there, all these 90s Australian bands, and I interviewed was Frenzal Rhomb and Body Jar, and I asked them who'd win in a brawl, and I asked them both the same question, and I cut their answers together. So if I ever do any, I'll ask her the same question, and I'll like put your answers side by side. And it was fucking awesome. It was so much fun. Mate, this has been great. Congratulations on Requiem. It is a really, really strong body of work. So well done.
Thanks. Thank you.
And yeah, man, I appreciate your time today. Apologies for the delay. And
No worries.
yeah, have a great rest of your day, mate.
Great to chat with you. Yeah, enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy trick or treating or whatever you end up doing with your kids on Halloween.
Will do, mate. See ya.
All right, see ya.
Bye.